Hi everybody, my name is Anna and I would like to speak with you today about anti-aging and the death program in our culture. And one of the reasons why I would like to do this is because as I have become older in my years, I've become really curious about a number of narratives and memes that circulate through our culture to do with the so-called aging process. And I've become really conscious of the way in which we are manipulated to believe that once you reach a certain age, around 50, 55, things will start to deteriorate in your body, that there is almost an absolute inevitability that you will psychologically become decapacitated through Alzheimer's or dementia, that you will physically start to deteriorate. You will be in need of a hip operation. You will be at the mercy of osteoporosis. You will become dependent on a walking stick or a Zimmer frame. And why I'm really curious about this is because when I was about 5 or 6, I remember seeing my great aunt sitting cross-legged on the floor. Now she must have been about 70, and I was in awe of her ability to do this, because even at that young age I had been conditioned to believe that my grandma, my aunt, my great aunt would be of an elderly nature and have these elderly features that I've just previously described. So when I saw my great aunt just plonk herself down in the middle of the floor to play with the children, cross-legged, I was in awe, and I got what we now call a download, that there was something not quite right about the reality that I was perceiving, the way that I was being told that people should be according to what age they were. So bringing it back to now, and my experience of what I'm experiencing now in this culture around the aging process, there are certain aspects to this death, what I call the death program, and I believe that there's an agenda, that a conscious agenda to promote this death program. And one of the reasons for this would be the corporate exploitation that ensues through this mindset, the instigation of this mindset once you reach a certain age of, say, 50, 55 and onwards. And the corporate exploitation involves the way in which the pharmaceutical industry absolutely makes billions from the sale of pharmaceutical drugs to people in their elderly years. So for example, you'll often see an elderly person who will be taking one drug and then another drug to counteract that drug and then another drug to counteract that drug, and so on and so forth. And then you have this pillbox where people can be taking drugs up to 15 a day. And then you have all the paraphernalia that comes along with it, as I mentioned before, the walking stick and the Zimmer frames and the particular accoutrements that you can see, particularly in the US, that have kind of snowballed into this industry for people in their older years. So I think there's a definite corporate interest in creating a narrative about what happens to you once you reach a certain age and what you're going to need, because your mind's going to collapse and your body's going to collapse. I think there's also then a spiritual stroke, more energetic reason why we are being triggered into this death program, and that's to do with the soul factory. So for example, if we really knew who we were, if we really understood what amazing beings we are, the capacity that we have to navigate different dimensions, the fact that the mainstream scientific narrative is that we are nothing but the 5 senses, if we were to take actually as our baseline that there are 6 senses and probably 7, 8, 9 and more senses, that we obviously have the auric field, the energetic fields, then it becomes obvious that the problem of death is one that we could navigate much more easily if we understood these realms, if we were taught these realms, these metaphysical truths. But because there's an exploitation taking place in terms of harvesting our energy and keeping us in a prison paradigm so that we don't really know who we are, the death program becomes very useful to the elements who believe that they have control over the planet at the moment. So what I want to bring to this discussion with you now is the idea that we need to become really conscious of this death program that runs in our culture, and particularly when we look at longevity and health, because what it seems to me is it's about choice. It's about the recognition that if we are to have a belief that is stronger in life, stronger in our will to live, stronger in our longevity than our belief in death, then we will be going a long way towards not allowing that death program to have any subconscious effect on us and drive us. If it remains beneath our radar, if it remains on the subconscious level, we will be driven by it. We will start to find ourselves entering those portals that I described earlier around the decay and the deterioration. But if we stay out of those realms and we, for example, create a daily affirmation, which is my will to live, my belief in my own power to live a healthy life and longevity is stronger than my belief in death. If we were to affirm those things to ourselves, then I think we would be transcending that death program. And I think if we bring that into a meditation practice as well, we will be reprogramming ourselves, we will be reprogramming our neurology, which gives us that message to ourselves that we are the ones that are in control of how we live, how our bodies age, how long we want to live, more than the corporates and more than the agendas driven by the so-called power elites that are operating on our planet at the moment. So I hope this has given you a taste of this area, and I will talk some more about what other things we can do to empower ourselves around our health and longevity and anti-aging. Thank you for listening.